welcome back, Real Talkers. We're really excited about tonight and want to thank you for joining us again. We're coming to the end of our three-part series of Demons in My House, but before I do that, I want to introduce myself. I'm Paula, one of the co-hosts for Real Talk. Next to me is Kitty, and beside her is Gay. Look, we're going to be coming to the end of a great series. We had a special guest last week, Bishop a fortnight ago now, Bishop Brian Tamaki, and Kitty's going to recap a little bit about that.
Yes, hi everyone. It's awesome to be back with you guys. Demons in My House has been a powerful series, and we had the opportunity to introduce that to you, to share that with you, and help to expose and identify what demons are. And as we discussed in our first episode, we talked about some people only see that as maybe a saying or demons or what's going on with him, but they've actually come to realize that there are hidden spirits, things in their life that are actually affecting them. And last episode we had Bishop, which was powerful.
Absolutely. So powerful.
He just came in here and he did what he does best, and he just powered through the atmosphere. And I know many homes were impacted, many lives were impacted, and we got a lot of feedback from you as well. So tonight, obviously Bishop's come and he's delivered a great word, but we've come to this is just the finale, this is the end of the part series here. But we just want to talk a little bit more about that, and we actually want to give you the opportunity to find that true freedom. Because I think the most important thing is understanding and identifying that there are spirits and there are things that are working against you is one thing, but then actually making moves and steps to ensure that you have the power and the authority to deal with them once and for all and find your freedom. I think I look around at people who come through our Man Up and our legacy programs, and they've been, to be honest, they look like they've been beaten, bruised, and just battered by the dysfunctions that are in their lives. But there's so much hope, and there's so much in Christ Jesus, and that's what we're here to bring, is that there is hope. And if you've seen those series, and the last one, especially with Bishop, that really rattled and shook up in your home some things, then this is the opportunity for us just to share a little bit more in depth about some of those strongholds where you can actually break through and overcome those.
Yeah, that's
so looking forward to that tonight. Hey.
Absolutely.
No, it's good. I think we chatted with the ladies a bit earlier, and there was a few key topics that we hit. Now, as many of you know, we run Man Up and Legacy. Now, these are run weekly throughout New Zealand, throughout the whole of New Zealand, from the north right down to the south, here in Australia, in Brisbane and the Gold Coast, and Perth, Western Australia, and it's spreading further, Sydney, Melbourne. And you know what, at the moment there may not be a legacy or a Man Up near you, but I want to encourage you to seek one out. And if there isn't yet, we actually have started to set up some online Man Up and Legacy. So get in touch with us, please, and let us help direct you. But in there we discuss some key topics, and I think we're going to discuss some of them tonight, and what that is really identifying strongholds, So I might let the ladies, I've said a lot already.
That's good.
Okay. Well, one of the ones that I'd like to bring up tonight is jealousy. Now, people think, and I'm speaking from a woman of a mature age, because often people think that because you're of mature age that doesn't affect you, or you know, you get to that age and you're still having jealousy problems, but if you haven't dealt with it, you definitely will still have an issue there. So when we think about jealousy and what can stem from that, I look at it and I think to myself, okay, if you're the person that's jealous, how crippling actually is that? That you are so jealous that it eats you up. But what about the person that you're jealous of? What does that do to them? How it sort of makes them feel as though you know, they're fearful. Jealousy does a few things, doesn't it? It brings out things like anger, abuse, murder. Now, how many times have we actually seen on the news where people have been murdered, and it's all stemmed back to that one thing called jealousy? Now, you can have an issue in that area which can come from your childhood, you know, where you think that maybe a sibling has been treated better than you, or your parents have shown more favour. You can go into relationships where jealousy there can really dominate. So what I'm saying tonight is that the issues that we're going to talk about don't just affect people that are in their 20s, 30s, 40s.
True.
They get right up into the 50s, 60s, 70s and 80s and can have a real problem in those areas. Why? Because they've never dealt with them. They've never dealt with them.
Do you think, though, sometimes people don't deal with them because they don't know that it's there?
Oh,
because I was thinking, thinking when you were talking about jealousy, I was thinking about self-pity is actually encompassed in that. Or why do they have that? That is a type of jealousy as well.
Yes.
Why do they have that? Oh, woe is me, I don't have that. I should have that.
Yes.
I know the same thing as them. They're getting blessed and I'm doing the same thing and I'm not getting blessed. That is a form of jealousy as well. And so, you know, I've asked the question a couple of times in the legacy program, you know, about jealousy, and a lot of people actually don't recognise jealousy for what it is. A lot of them say, oh, I've never been jealous of anybody. But if you're a child, if you were a child and you didn't like sharing, you were jealous. Just a little tip there.
Mine.
Yeah, absolutely jealous. And why that one got my toy, and then why she's got a better one than mine. And if that behaviour is not trained out of them and they're not able to recognise it, there's not a problem. And again, I always go back to Gay's statement, you can't cast out the demon you can't see. So if you're not willing to recognise it, then you won't know that there's an issue. And pride always comes before a fall. So when you talk about jealousy, pride is always standing in the front of jealousy, guarding it as much as it can, because we're talking about strongholds here. When I think about a stronghold, I think about a tower that's standing there, and a tower don't stand there without a fortress around it and without guards around it. So you've got guards that are like anger, resentment, self-pity, who are like, I deserve to feel like this. They did this to me, so I'm going to hold this against them. They don't deserve that. Those are all of the guards that are fortifying you from seeing jealousy. So jealousy is actually a stronghold that stands up here like a tall tower, and the only way that you can pull that down is by recognizing it and believing in Jesus Christ and asking him into your heart. So when you think about jealousy and you think, I've never been jealous, you need to seek the Holy Spirit and ask him that question.
Be honest. Be honest. Be truthful.
And be vulnerable.
And don't justify. You don't have to justify how you feel and call it something else. If it's jealousy, it's jealousy. That's exactly what it is. You can call it what you like, but at the end of the day, if you've got those feelings of resentment and self-pity, it's jealousy.
True. One of the best explanations of jealousy that I ever heard was when bishops introduced it, and this was years and years ago, and he said jealousy is the fear of replacement. And I think when people feel that they're going to be replaced, when someone's going to take their position, when something's going to be taken away from me, that's where that comes in. But I think when I mentioned strongholds, some people who maybe have jumped on tonight for the first time, this is Demons in My House series, and we've come to the end of it, and you're probably going, whoa, this is pretty deep. But I just want to encourage you, get back on to episode 1 and 2, where we actually discussed Demons in My House. We introduced the topic, us ladies, and then Bishop came on the show. So if you haven't seen those yet, please get back on there and you'll be caught up to date in terms of what we're discussing. So with strongholds, we're talking about strongholds, and like Paula really well explained, it's like a fortress. Another way I like to put it is, you look at a tree's got roots into the ground, and you can't see the roots. All you can see is the tree trunk, the leaves, and the fruit that come from that tree. So as we, the question often people ask is, how do you know what kind of tree it is? Well, because you can see the fruit on it. If there's lemons on there, it's definitely a lemon tree.
That's right.
You don't go, no, it's not. No, it's not apples. I'm looking at lemons. So that's how you can see the fruit of what's going on under here, what the plant is, what the tree is. So strongholds. A great explanation that I understood and also helped and teach other people to understand is it's like a tree deep down into the ground. You can't see what it is, but the fruit starts to pop up. So if anger starts popping up, and then anger's, oh gee, this one's a bigger one, this is rage. Oh, now this is abuse. Now this is obsession. Now this is turned into, oh my gosh, she can't do anything without him saying, who are you with and what are you doing, and getting text messages all throughout the day, or vice versa, or him getting, I saw you with them and what were you talking about? All those kinds of things. Those are the fruit that pop up. So now you can actually say, hey, if I'm seeing those fruit pop up in my own life, I have to actually stop and go, whoa, hold on a second, where's this come from? Do I need to look at what kind of root is in there that I need to get out? And that's the thing, is when it comes to stronghold spirits, when it comes to things like jealousy, which is the stronghold that all those kind of fruit pop up, you need to deal to that.
That's right.
That's the root problem there. So all these ones we're going to discuss tonight, they all have that stronghold into the ground. And the first thing is to identify. I think what's most important too is humility. Is actually humbling yourself and not being, oh nah, I'm all good, I'm all good, I don't need anything. Is actually stopping, having a reflection and saying, you know what, some of these dysfunctions that I'm hearing these Bishop spoke about, hearing the woman on Legacy Real talk about, I'm seeing some of those in my life, or I'm seeing them in people around me, needs to be dealt with. So humility is number one.
Absolutely.
That's key, is actually humbling yourself. And it's humbling yourself before God. Like before anything, before there's any authority to move and deal with anything in your life, you have to understand that the only person that can deal with those strongholds, and the only power and force that can deal with those strongholds, is through the power of God. And that's the only way you can deal with it. We can counsel you, we can give you all kinds of tips and step 1 to 10, but the reality is it's only going to be through the power of God that can actually uproot and deal to that root problem and that stronghold. So that's in terms of jealousy. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No.
In that specific one?
No, I think there was a story I just wanted to share just quickly. I had my grandnephew over in the weekend. He's so gorgeous. It's so privileged to have him in my house. Anyway, he was playing around, and he's quite rough and tumble and stuff like that, and he went into my son's room, and we just heard this crash, and it went really quiet, and I was like, uh-oh, and then his dad went into the room, and he gave him a bit of a growling, and he came out, and I thought something really bad had happened to him, like he hurt himself bleeding or really like in pain, because he didn't cry or anything, and then he walked out and his head was hanging down and he was really sad, and I said, what's the matter? And he said, I dropped Uncle's mirror. And I was like, oh gee, it's okay, it's all right. And then I reached out my arms to him and I said, come here, and I said, hey, it's okay, you're allowed to make mistakes, it was an accident, it's okay. And after embracing him and giving him that cuddle, and telling him, you know, it's okay, gave him a kiss on his head, and then I put him down and he ran off like nothing happened. But so many times a lot of us have made mistakes, and we've never had that cuddle before, and we've never had that, and those are actual entry points where the enemy can come in and tell you how useless you are. Those are points where you can actually start building resentment, and sometimes it's towards the wrong people and the wrong things.
That's right.
And it was just an innocent mistake that you made, but it's an opportunity for the enemy to come in there and tell you you're useless, you're going to make that mistake again, you're not good enough, you're not worthy enough. So when we're talking about strongholds, that's another entry point where that can come in, and it actually can take a huge hold of your life. So that's the beginning of an entry point, whereas if we don't get in there and encourage and empower you and tell you what God thinks of you, and this is where I'm going to go to, you need to surround yourself with great people that are going to encourage you into your purpose. And Bishop talked about it, I think, a fortnight ago, about getting to a good church, a Destiny church in New Zealand, a Destiny church here in the Gold Coast. We're here. So those strongholds and those lies can be pulled down. And I think we're going to be heading into the next stronghold, aren't we?
No, that's awesome. That is so true, eh? It's so important that you connect with the right people. Many people have had the opportunity, have gotten freedom from things, but have continued on the same path, and there's no wondering why you've found yourself back in the same trap. So it is so important to get connected with the right people. And yes, the next stronghold that we're wanting to discuss tonight was perversion. And part of perversion, perversion, I guess I'm just going to rattle off with the ladies. When the word perversion comes, what's some of the things that pop to your mind?
Sex.
Unfaithfulness.
Pornography.
Pornography. Shaking your booty, that twerking stuff. Don't twerk in front of me.
Well, there's
exercise, but
I don't know what we're smiling at. It's a foul spirit. It's not good, but you know what? At the same time, there's so much in terms of a sexual side of things. Perversion. It's twisted. Perversion actually means twisted, warped, a false. It's kind of like a counterfeit to truth. So when when I look at perversion, and a great example I know that Elder Kane has shared is that for people to know that something isn't right or that there's something wrong with it, they need to line it up against something that is straight. So in terms of perverted, picture, say, twisted.
Like a
you can't tell sometimes. People can walk around warped, twisted, with their mindsets, the way they live their life, and dysfunction, not realising what, it's all good, this is just how it is, this is how everyone rolls, until they see, hold on, there's another plumb line, there's something different, there's there's somebody there. So you put yourself up against somebody like that and you can go, oh gee, things need to change. So in terms of perversion, you mentioned it too, is lies. There's a twist that the enemy has on us to tell us so many lies about who we are, our purpose, our identity, what we're good at, what we're not good at, who cares about us, who loves us, how many times we get another chance, all those sorts of things. That's perversion as well. But yeah, definitely very much a lot of the other twisted, warped things in terms of sexual perversion as well.
You know what I think is really sad is that I think what is sad is that the way that society today has just allowed all of this to come in. I mean, like once you went to a movie and you didn't hear swearing, you didn't see sex on there, you didn't see nudity, you didn't see any of that. But slowly all of that is broken down and now it's an accepted thing. So for people that don't have that plumb line, for people that don't have that line that says, you know what, this is wrong, I shouldn't be watching this or I shouldn't be listening to that. The first thing that corrupts a person is what they look at, what they listen to. So I remember saying to someone, he said, oh, well, you know, if somebody walks past in a bikini, you know, and I happen to be looking that way, I said, it's not the fact that you looked, it's that you went like that. Your gaze was, you know. So we've got to bring ourselves back into line. True. We have got to ensure that what we're listening to and what we're looking at is good, clean. Who do you mix with? Who do you listen to? The eye gate and the ear gate, they're the two gates that allow perversion in. I remember hearing about this young fellow that said what happened to him was that when he was a child, his father used to have magazines lying around, I don't know, whatever they were, but anyway, he shouldn't have had them. But the kid used to get the magazine and like go through. Then as he got older, he started getting online and looking at stuff on there. And then as a young man, then he would visit brothels and things like that. Then that wasn't enough. You see how it grew? It went from one thing to the next, one thing to the next, and he ended up by being in jail for life because he murdered. So it was, he would have sex with women, go too far with the obvious intention to kill and murder them. And he said, the thing that I want to say to young men in particular is this: don't start to look at those things.
That's good.
You see how it just crept in and it grew and it festered. And it festered.
That's
so the eye gate and the ear gate.
Very good.
They're the two things that you're to guard. You're to guard.
Good. That's so good. I remember when me and my husband first got together, yes, it's about me this time, in my household, we looked at people on TV and go, oh, you look like so-and-so. And I remember saying to my husband, you look like so-and-so. And he got a little bit offended, which I can understand why, because my background is a bit way different to his. And he said, am I not enough for you? You know, just simple things like that. And it realigned my thinking to think, actually, yes, he is enough. I shouldn't be comparing him to anybody else, like the eye gate, like what you were saying. But I had grown up in a household where that was done regularly. My dad used to go, oh, there's my wife Mariah Carey, and you know, comments like that. And I know he'll be okay with it. And we used to laugh about it in the house like a joke. But it's a subtle thing, isn't it?
It is.
It's a real subtle thing. And so I picked that up, and it wasn't until I was aligned with the truth with my husband, am I good and not good enough? And I was like, actually, that's really good. Yes, he is good enough. So that's something that I changed in my life that I didn't realise was a lie.
Yeah.
So it's just something simple.
What to put down to the other person,
Yeah,
isn't it? It's like...
I know, it's
No, true. But hey, that's powerful what you said there, is that the eye gate and the ear gate, those are the entry points and the access way. And that's where, you know what, these strongholds, that's where they find their way in.
Yeah.
They find when we're vulnerable. And that's what we discussed right at the beginning with demons in my house, is that if it's unseen and unknown, it has more power to just creep around. Nobody knows, it's all good, I'm undisclosed, no one knows I'm here. But now what we're here to do is say, yeah, we know you're here. We know what you are. So the same thing.
But we can get rid of you.
Exactly. So once we can find you, we can get you out of here. Just like your home. If there's somebody sneaking around your house trying to steal things or trying to take things from you, if you know they're there, you can drive them out. Get out of here. You got the right, you know, you got the weaponry, you got tools, and you're like, get out of my house. And that's the same thing when it comes to spiritual influences, demons in your house, demons in your home, in your mind, and your thoughts, and your heart, and your eye. You know, the things that you're looking at. When you can identify, you can actually say it's time for you to get out now. I don't want you anymore. You don't have any more authority in here. So that's what's important as well, is identifying it, knowing it. So that's why we're discussing this. We're discussing some of these strongholds so that we can help you identify and see them for what they are.
But I just want to say this quickly, because you're talking about identifying, but you have to want to. You have to want to get rid of it. So it's all very well to identify the demon itself, but do you want to let it go? Or do you want to hang on?
It's very good.
So you've got to make sure that you definitely do not want that thing hanging around in your home, in you, whatever, that it needs to go. And be sure about that. Be clear about that.
That's so true, because it does take effort and energy. Don't think, oh, phew, this demon's gone. No, he knows you, so he's going to try and come back, but he's going to come back with 7 more of his mates. Just like that that big fortified city is going to try and come back. So that's why it's so important to get around really great-minded people. And sometimes it's going to feel uncomfortable, but you know what? It's all worth it in the end.
Oh, definitely.
Like there were times, I've not come from a God-fearing background. You know, I come to church when I was 16. And there were lots of moments where I was uncomfortable, but those uncomfortable moments was because I was being realigned back to the truth. Like that simple comment that my husband made, it's truth. And that felt uncomfortable to me because I had been shown a different way to behave. And I thought I was complimenting him, but I was actually insulting him, and then I'm like all confused. But the more I hung out and the more hung out with great people that were able to realign my thinking, the easier it was for me to continue walking. But then there are generational, and I think Bishop touched on it too, generational curses that have gone through the bloodline. And that's a really awesome book too that you might want to get your hands on. And how that can impact, and sometimes they've been stuck in there for some time, and you really need God, and you really need to get around amazing people that love Jesus, that know the authority, and that they can move to try and support you through that whole process, because you might feel like withdrawals. Because you've had it for so long, it's like withdrawals, like, oh my gosh, there's no drama in my life, I need to create drama. And it is true though. Because it's funny, some people will go wonderfully along a path of righteousness, then all of a sudden, hello, they're having this big, but it's a distraction. Just letting you know, it is a distraction. It's trying to distract you from your purpose and the right way that you're meant to be going on. So be mindful of that. Get around wise and great people that are going to really encourage and inspire you into your purpose. And like I said, and I won't use that description, I have some pretty explicit descriptions, but it is uncomfortable. It can be.
Well, you know, you mentioned there about generational curses, and they're real. But they are real, but you know, they're not an excuse.
That's right.
And I just want to give you an example of how real it is. My great-grandmother, she was divorced. My grandmother, she was also divorced. My mum, divorced. Myself, divorced. My daughter, divorced. So what we've got here is we've got 5 generations of divorce. So are generational curses real? They are real.
Yeah.
They're absolutely real.
So true.
But we don't use them as an excuse for bad behaviour.
That's right.
We don't say, oh, well, you know, it's in the genes, I couldn't help myself. This one did that and that one did this and that one. So it's only natural that I'm going to do it too. No, 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 no. That's not a good enough reason.
Yeah.
That's not. But you could be the one that smashes that generational curse.
That's right. We believe that.
It can get to you, and that's where it can stop. But you have to want that. You've got to want that.
Yes, awesome. Yeah, definitely. You know, there can be a lot of times in different situations, whether it's been with unfaithfulness in the bloodline, whether it's been with anger, rage, all those kinds of things. Often you'll hear people say, oh yeah, that's what my father and my grandfather were like. That's just how they were. So they sort of, like you said, they almost take that on as like a pride. But honestly, that's nothing to be proud of, and those are not things you want to carry on in your generation or for your children. So that's where we have the opportunity, standing as we are alone and saying, you know what? It stops here. It stops here. As you've been hearing us say, it's so important who you align yourself with, who you connect yourself with. And firstly, it's got to be godly men and women. Godly people. And you know, the beginning point might be man up and legacy. That might be the first point where you go, you know what, I do want to become a better man. I want to be a better father, a better wife, a better woman, a better mother, a better father and leader and everything like that. So that is the opportunity for you to begin that journey. But you know what? You know where it all leads to? It leads to Christ.
That's it.
He is the only way. He is actually the only way. It's not just a part of what we're discussing. He is the only way to see that completely obliterated out of your bloodline and out of your family. I know many people say, I've been through this, but I don't want my kids to go through it. Yet they continue on the same way. And the thing is, your children are going to unfortunately go through that if you don't break that. And if you don't give them Christ to actually say, you know what, we're changing this. We're at a crossroad here and we're not going that same way. We're not going that same direction. So that's why it's so important. And that's why we had Bishop here last episode, for you to see and for you to hear and to know that, man, there is hope. And I love what you were saying too about stop condemning yourself, stop holding yourself down. And you know what, even many saints or people who love God and have got Christ in your life, too many times you hold yourself victim and go, oh man, I'm always stuffing up, man, I'm always making mistakes, oh look, the church are going to look at me funny, or people are judging me. You know what, people aren't judging you, you got conviction. You're doing something wrong, you don't feel right, but automatically you'll look at someone who challenges you and go, stop judging me. No one's judging you. It's just like if you're, say, on a diet and you're going to eat a chocolate and everyone knows you told them you're on a diet. They're like, don't judge me. Hey. You're judging yourself. So that's the thing.
That's a good example.
You know what? Stop looking around at what everyone else is or isn't doing. We have the power, we have the authority to make the decisions for where we go.
That's right.
And when it comes to demons in my house, when it comes to dysfunction in our lives, like I said, man, I look around and see people beaten, bruised, battered, and they've just got battle scars of a dysfunctional life. And it's, you know what, you can be free from that. You can be free from that. And spirit of perversion and the spirit of jealousy and rage and anger, you know, we speak to all those things right now through here. If you're listening and those things that we help identify, or for you to go, you know what, I do believe I've got that, that can be broken in your life. It can be broken in your life through the power of Jesus Christ. And if you believe in him, you know, it says in the word that if you call upon the name of the Lord, you shall be saved. So, you know what? Yes, you can go to church and come and receive that, but you can receive that right now. You can receive that if you believe and if you call upon his name, and the power and the authority that comes with him breaks all these curses, breaks all these bloodline curses and dysfunctions. We do have another one that we just want to bring up quickly before we wrap this side up, is heaviness, which I think is huge. Because we spoke about perversion and the distorted things that get spoken to us in our mind, and heaviness is massive. And people are probably thinking, what do you mean heaviness? Heaviness, when you think of, like I said, once again, that root, that stronghold, the fruit of heaviness, some of the things that will rattle off is depression, anxiety, doubt, fear, discouragement.
Sleepiness, always being sleepy, even though you've had like lots of sleep.
Yeah. Lethargic, no energy, just no vision. You know, like there's no hope, nothing out there. That's heaviness.
It's like a dazed look too, you know, kind of just wandering, like dazed, like hopeless.
Yeah, no vision, eh? And I think that's the thing is, like with heaviness, people who experience it and are thinking, gee, maybe that's me, it does actually feel like a weight, you know. And we had the woman in one of our previous episodes share about heaviness and depression, and they said it literally felt like I couldn't get out of bed in the morning. It was like a weight was holding me down. And that's spiritual. That's very spiritual. You know what? Even in terms of sickness,
that's right.
If you're finding, man, I just keep getting sick and I don't know what's wrong with me, I just can't get up in the mornings, you need to actually start to stop and identify some of these things, because that could very much be a spiritual problem more than just physical. So I think, that's another one too, is heaviness.
It is.
Is the mind, your internal world of what do you think of yourself? How do you perceive yourself? Do you believe in you? Is there hope? Do you see a future for yourself? Do you have enough vision to see that there's more for me? Or is it always depression? Low, you know, even that's another one, it's just feeling low. I don't know, I just felt low today. Heaviness, that's all stemmed from that root issue.
That's right. That's right.
I don't think any form of medication can fix that too, because like again, it's a stronghold. It's something that's within you, and to be honest, you're not willing to face in some senses. But like what Gay says, you can't cast out the demon you can't see. But now I'm going to break that. You need to go back and watch Bishop's his series that he spoke about in part 2 and also in part 1. This is your opportunity to be free from that. So don't let depression take over you. Don't let it hold you. Don't believe it's lies, that you're not worthy enough, that you're not good enough, and stop comparing yourself to other people. Stop comparing yourself to everyone else, because you're not them. You are uniquely you. You were made and designed for a purpose that you've been lied to, because you've been compared to Sally up the road, or at work you don't function as well as, so like Johnny up in the canteen or something like that. Those are another forms of entry points too, where enemy can come in and tell you, oh, you're not as good as Johnny and you're not as good as Sally. Sorry, Johnny and Sally. You're awesome. But don't compare yourself to Johnny and Sally, because you won't be better than them, but you can be the best you. So, like gooder.
It's a new word.
It's a Paula word. But anyway, depression, I deal with it regularly, not myself personally, but in my line of work I deal with it regularly, and it has a smell. It definitely has a smell of hopelessness. It's musty, it closes the windows. If you're closing the windows, you're sleeping continuously, you're looking for an easy fix through medication. Medication ain't going to fix that, man. You need to go and actually seek some spiritual guidance.
Very good.
And I'm not talking from like these, what do you call, New Age people. We're talking about God-fearing, Bible-believing, Jesus-fearing, who know their power and authority. You look, if you're in the GC in Brisbane, come to Destiny Church. We'll be able to support you, love you, and lift you up in prayer. But depression is robbing you of your purpose. It's robbing you of your identity as well. Depression is a lie. You are great. You're divine. You were made in His image, and there's no greater way to live your life than to live the way that God called you to be.
That's right.
So
that's right. No, I really like what you had to say there, because what you need to recognise is that when you're having all those negative thoughts about yourself, like, you know, the lies of the enemy saying I'm not good enough, etc., etc., what you're doing is you're feeding that thing.
That's good.
So you're feeding it. So when you're continually in your own mind putting yourself down and criticising and always, oh, poor me, and nobody cares about me, and I've got no friends, and you know, why am I even here? True. All of those things. You think about it. You're feeding that little monster, and honestly, that little fatty is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you need to stop that, and you need to start to starve it. So how do you starve it?
Yeah.
You do this.
Love that.
You say, you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, you are fearfully and wonderfully made.
That's it.
I can conquer all.
Yeah.
There is a way forward.
Yeah.
I have a purpose.
Yes.
Nobody can be a better me than me.
Awesome.
That's it.
So
That's right.
when you start saying things like that about yourself, you start being positive about yourself, you start to starve that little fatty.
Awesome.
You know, somebody's been talking about diets or something. It's really like, you know. But you know what I'm saying, don't you? Because you know that that is what has been happening to you, that you've actually been speaking negative about yourself, when in actual fact you should be doing the exact opposite.
That's it.
So there's freedom.
Yes.
There's freedom ahead for you. You don't have to carry around heaviness anymore.
No.
You don't have to.
No.
All you've got to do is make a concerted decision and effort and say, no longer are you going to control me.
Yes.
I am getting rid of you.
Awesome.
That's funny, that you said fatty, because when you think about it, sorry, when you describe depression as a fatty, it's heavy. And it stops you from moving forward. And I'm like, when you think of something heavy being on you, you don't want to move, you don't want to get up, you don't want to open the curtains, you don't want to have a shower. No, get in that shower, wash yourself, open those curtains and put some light on you. But when I think about fatty, it's such a good description.
Hey, no, but in all seriousness, so this isn't in a derogatory way, but even people who struggle with depression will vouch for it and say, you know what, that was probably when I put on most of my weight.
Yes.
When I put on most of my weight and I was withdrawn, and then it feeds, like you said, it feeds each other.
Yeah.
So externally you're starting to not like what you look like, and then it's feeding that spirit within you that's going, yeah, see, you're useless, and oh, you're yuck and you're ugly and all those sorts of things. So it just becomes this frenzy of feeding the dysfunction.
And give me another potato chip.
Hey, well, it's true, but it's sad. It's sad, but it's true. But you know what? The truth is that how to overcome that, medication will numb maybe some emotions and make you think, oh, yeah, no, but it's making me feel better. But the truth of the matter is that it's not going to deal to the root issue, and it will continue to reoccur, and it will continue to rear its head up every now and then. So I just want to encourage you, what you've heard us say continually tonight is you've got to surround yourself with the right people.
Yeah.
And with Legacy, you know, we're always saying it's to uplift you, it's to empower you, it's to bring life, it's to encourage you, and that's exactly what it is. We've all got women coming along to Legacy, and they come for the first time, and then I'll be like, are you coming next week? And they're like, that is the only thing right now that I'm like, I am there.
Yeah,
and
that's
then you've
so
got other
true.
women saying, man, when I'm feeling down, I can't wait to get to Legacy, and vice versa with
That's
Man
true.
Up. It's important that you commit yourself and be consistent. With anything in life, you're only going to be successful if you're consistent. So in terms of connecting with the right people, connecting with the church, connecting with God, is remain consistent. Day in, day out, be consistent, week in, week out, and then you watch the change come. If you think, oh, I'll go three times a year and I should be all good, that should hold me down, it's not true. We all know in a physical gym that ain't going to happen.
That's right.
I'd love to go three times a year and remain fit and healthy and strong, but the truth is it ain't going to happen. You've got to be consistent. Even when it starts to get cold and you want to, I don't want to get out of bed. Get out of bed. You've got to remain consistent. It's the same thing. When I don't feel like going to church or being around those people, get there. And same mentality, get out of bed, get up, move.
Or your gym buddy doesn't want to go, eh? If your gym buddy doesn't want to go, you should still go anyway.
Don't be that gym buddy though that doesn't go. Nah. But you know what? That's and all of that. It's about being with the right people.
That's
surrounding yourself with godly men and godly women who can continually encourage and inspire you. We're all walking this journey together. None of us are perfect. Yes, we're helping people, but we're being helped as well. We're being encouraged. I love Legacy. I love going and imparting to women, but I'm always receiving just as much as I'm imparting. So all of our testimonies and all of our stories are here to help one another. And don't look at people from the outside and think you know their story. Don't look at Paula and think, yeah, I know her story, I know what it looks like, I know what gays, I know what kiddies looks like. You know what? The truth of the matter is you don't know what people have been through. And you don't know what they've overcome. And they could have the key to what you need to overcome. So connect with the right people, connect with godly men and women. Destiny churches throughout New Zealand, here in Australia. Man Up and Legacy. I can't emphasise enough, Man Up and Legacy. These are the programs we go through. This is our first topic, demons in my house, dealing with dysfunction, understanding dysfunction. And we're moving on to a new series, but you're going to hear about that a little bit later. But we're not finished yet, but what we have got is we're excited because we've got a special guest with us tonight. And she's actually going to share a spoken word with you. So we're going to hear from her real soon, but before that, check this out.
It stemmed from childhood.
It stemmed from childhood.
When I was young.
When I was young.
When I was young.
When I was 8.
I was a teenager.
I was a teenager.
A man delivered groceries.
A man walked into
my room.
I managed to escape.
My innocence.
My innocence.
My innocence
Was stolen from me.
Was stolen from me.
I was ashamed.
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 I was neglected.
I was neglected.
I hated.
I hated myself.
I hated myself. And I hated God.
I held a lot of bitterness towards my parents.
I blamed my parents.
I couldn't
Stay
Sober.
I couldn't stay sober.
I couldn't stay sober. Alcohol became my life.
I was addicted.
I was addicted.
I was addicted. I lost everything. I got depressed.
Depressed.
Got depressed
I was confused.
Disorientated.
Scared.
Angry.
And bitter.
to a point of beating my wife.
There were demons in my house.
There were demons in my house.
There were demons in my house.
Depression.
Suicide.
Suicide.
Jealousy.
Hatred.
Jealousy,
Jealousy.
Addiction.
Addiction.
Anger.
Anger.
rage,
Perversion.
Aversion.
Failure.
Heaviness.
Fear.
Fear.
Unforgiveness. Grief.
There had to be
Something more
To life.
there had to be something more to life.
I found a sisterhood.
I found a sisterhood.
I found a brotherhood.
She found a sisterhood.
He found a brotherhood.
I found a brotherhood.
I was embraced. I felt special.
I am no longer
Bound by
My past. They empowered me,
Encouraged me.
inspired me, they lifted me up.
I found my family.
I truly found my family.
I am a new woman.
I am a new woman,
I'm a new man.
I'm a new man.
a new creation.
I'm a new creation.
My future is bright.
My future is very bright.
Real talk.
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 And that's real talk.
Real talk.
Real talk.
Real talk.
We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another.
We've all endured hardships. They're unsettling, they're uncomfortable, but they reveal things in us. Vulnerabilities, weaknesses, strengths. During hardships, we often ask ourselves, is this all worth it? Confronting a challenge to become a better, stronger you is all worth it. This is Legacy, an environment that strengthens you. Legacy restores self-belief, value, dignity, worth. A newer, greater, stronger version of you. Things that hold you back become things that push you forward. But the best thing about Legacy is what happens next. Now that you're empowered, you can go and empower others. Join the sisterhood.
Yo, what's up, everyone? I'm Becky. You can follow me on Instagram, Becky Yaps, and on Facebook, Rebecca Hidoini. This is a bit of a spoken word that I've put together, inspired by a few people that I look up to, and also some experiences that I've experienced myself personally. It's called Private Parts, so enjoy. Private parts. Why do you laugh? Don't get it twisted. I ain't talking about what's in your knickers. I'm talking about what's in your heart, because that's the real private part. So guard your heart with all diligence, they say, because out of it flows the issues of life and annoying Facebook posts and cheesy quotes, not to mention that lame-ass comment from so-and-so. OMG, I'm scrolling through my news feeds and everybody's been invited to dinner except for me. So here I am, all alone, scrolling through Facebook on my phone, sitting on the couch, replaying these hurtful events, building up in myself a wall and a prison of offense. Private parts. They say that the mouth is a reaction and a response of what's happening in your heart. Well, that's damn straight. And if that's the case, I hate it when my husband says, I will do the dishes. He says it to me 3 times. You know what? I'm going to be holding out tonight. We are not getting intimate. He is not getting into this. I will not open my legs. I mean my heart. Private parts. Now, if you thought I was talking about sex, well, you're wrong again. I was talking about blocking him out emotionally and mentally, spiritually as well. But not just him. I plan on blocking everybody and anybody who says they love me. I'm not making this about me. I ain't being a drama queen. Private parts. Hey sis, how you going? How's things? How's life? Yeah, I'm good. How's your family? How's marriage? We haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, we're fine. Look, sis, intimacy requires proximity. So if you ask me how I am and our relationship is not strong, I'm going to give you a weak answer. But this is my favorite excuse I like to use. I call this isolation. I like to hide in private places. I wear many faces. I don't want to drop my guard. I don't want people to see my private parts. Okay, I'll admit it. I'm a little bit stubborn and I overthink way too much. I look around at the people that I have next to me and I still don't know who to trust. Sometimes it's hard for me. I don't know if people really like me for me. I don't know if people know how to relate to this crazy brown girl from the hood. But I need that sisterhood. I need a relationship. I'm sick and tired of being lonely. So can I be real with you? I want to show you my private parts. Is that all good? Cool. I'm 28 and I believe in myself. I know that I have a massive purpose and a calling. I'm a praying wife. I have good days and I have bad days. I have been having an affair with the spirit affair occasionally. It's not good for me, but I'm winning that battle. I have one beautiful boy and one beautiful girl. In actual fact, I love my husband. Sometimes. I wear a blue cape and there's an S on my chest. My stomach looks like a deflated raisin. My belly button is on my knee, but look sis, we're good. I'm good. So the next time your sister asks, the next time someone extends an invite to you, the next time asks you how you are, let down your guard and let your sister see those private parts. Thank you.
There's only one word for that, and that is wow. Just wow.
Thank you so much.
I mean, so many of us can relate, can't we? We can relate to some of the things that were said there. In fact, most of them. I was listening away there and I thought, yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me.
That's
so
me.
What a beautiful introduction to the next Real Talk program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, you mean. The Real Talk program is going to be on Heal My Heart. Heal My Heart. We're going to be talking and discussing about things like unforgiveness, a broken heart.
That's good.
You need to tune in. You need to tune in. I'll tell you why. Because this is going to be absolutely, totally life-changing. You could say to yourself, you know what? That's not me. I don't feel as though I've ever had unforgiveness. You'd be amazed. When we start talking and we start bringing up some of those issues, you'll be able to relate to them. I'm absolutely sure. Now, look, you need to watch this again, don't you?
Yes, you do.
And how you do that is you get on the Real Talk page and you also get on the Instagram page and rerun it. In fact, go back to the session before, which was a fortnight before, where we had the writer of our book, Demons in Our House, which was Bishop, and watch that. Even watch the session before that. You will get so much from it. So I'm really looking forward to saying hello to you in the next session in 2 weeks' time. And we are so ready to help to set you free and heal that heart.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you so much.